Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to Bacon 2021, and welcome to our very last session of the conference. Hope you've had a great couple of days across all the sessions that you attended, all of the training sessions, enablement. So far, we received a lot of really great feedback, and I know there was a lot of participation in the Genius Bars, meeting with the experts and so forth. So the feedback has been good. I hope that everyone has really enjoyed this conference to this point. For this very last session that we have, we're going to be speaking with some of our colleagues over at AWS about, let me actually go ahead and introduce them here. So the presenters that we have with us, I'll just do a quick introduction and pass over to them so they can introduce themselves as well. We're joined here by Harsha Tadiparthi, Specialist Solutions Architect for Data and Analytics at AWS. We have Sapna Maheshwari, Specialist Solutions Architect for QuickSight. And we also have Venkata Gomatham, Partner Management Solutions Architect at AWS. So just to give you guys a better background about these team members, so Harsha has a strong data architecture background for years of experience in designing and implementing big data solutions for large organizations. Sapna, as I mentioned, also a solutions architect. She's passionate about telling stories with data. In her previous roles at American Express and Early Warning Services, she managed and led several projects in the data and analytics space. She enjoys helping customers unearth actionable insights from their data. And then Venkat, as I mentioned, Partner Management Solutions Architect, is a seasoned IT architect serving a global network of AWS consulting partners. And as a partner management solutions architect, Venkat's focus is to enable partners and provide guidance to build world-class AWS practice to help all AWS customers. So welcome, team, and thank you for joining us today. So what we're going to have for this session is this team is going to show us how QuickSight can help deliver BI at scale, from standard BI dashboards to machine learning-enabled dashboards for different levels of users across an organization. Before I hand things over to this team to get us kicked off, I did want to put up one additional reminder that I think all of you will like. So as a reminder, there is a giveaway for this session as well, sponsored by our friends over at Ingram Micro. It is a brilliant smart home control, and you enter this just by attending the session. So by attending and staying engaged, your name is going to be put in the hat to be drawn at the end, and the winner will be announced in a post-event email that'll be distributed after Bacon. So please stick around, please stay engaged. We have great content here for you guys, and you'll have your chance at winning this great giveaway here. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand things over to Venkat to get us kicked off.
Hello, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on where you are. Today's session is on QuickSight. So in today's workshop, we're going to learn some nice features about QuickSight and how it can help you visualize the insights that you gain from your lakehouse. So throughout this session, we heard yesterday from Greg about Lakehouse and how it will provide the value to your business. And this morning we had a Redshift session on how you can implement Lakehouse and how it is central to implementing a Lakehouse architecture. And in the session now, we will dive deep into QuickSight and see like how you can gain insights and visualize those insights. With that said, for this session is created with two in a two mode fashion. So one, you can perceive this as a hands-on workshop. So some of you might have gotten hash keys to our lab environments, and so you can get onto the lab and follow through the workshop and get some hands-on experience. For those people who doesn't have hash, it's still a great session. It's a great demo session that you can actually see and learn different features that are available in QuickSight for you. And with that said, please do ask questions throughout the session in the questions section in your conference tool. And if you do have any concerns or issues with your lab, to try to communicate with us through the chat, and we'll try our best to help you out. So with that said, I'll pass it on to Sapna. Sapna, take it away.
Thank you, Venkat. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session on Amazon QuickSight. I'm going to start sharing my screen here. Right. Let me know if you're able to see the presentation now.
We can see. We can see it, Sapna. Go ahead.
Oh, great. So, Amazon QuickSight. First, I'd like to start off with the 5 differentiators that Amazon QuickSight presents. First, it's a pay-as-you-go model. What this means is that you might have thousands of users provisioned on Amazon QuickSight, but you wouldn't be charged a single penny unless and until those users actually use. To top it off, we also cap the usage at $5 per user per month. Now, if you use one session a month, then you would be charged 30 cents. So every session is 30 cents. And if you use 20 sessions or 100 sessions, you would be charged only $5. So the cap is $5. If you use anything less, then you would be charged at 30 cents. So the next is auto scaling and serverless. With QuickSight, you will never have to provision any servers because it's a SaaS-based offering. You never have any software to install, manage, no upgrade versions to do. All the new features that QuickSight releases will be available directly on your instance automatically without you or your server team having to take any action. So that's one of the biggest advantages of going with a cloud-native solution like QuickSight. The next value proposition by QuickSight is it's deeply integrated with AWS services, which means you get the world-class security, encryption, and other secure features that AWS provides. Finally, Amazon QuickSight is used by many customers who want to do large-scale BI implementations. So in that case, it would be very tedious and cumbersome to use the UI and probably add users or share assets across users. So now with Amazon QuickSight, you are able to programmatically use scripts and deploy your dashboards and share it across people. Finally, machine learning. So QuickSight provides built-in anomaly detection and forecasting features. What this means is that you can run anomaly detection jobs. So QuickSight will automatically scan your data continuously, and it will send you alerts if it detects any anomaly in your data. So these are the top differentiators of Amazon QuickSight. Next, how QuickSight works. So you can very easily connect Amazon QuickSight to a list of data sources that you would see on your screen when you start creating your data sets on QuickSight. In this example, it shows how Amazon Redshift is connected to Amazon QuickSight, and then the authors will create dashboards. And once the dashboards are created by the author persona, they can publish it out and share it with specific people who need access to those dashboards. Now, even though an author can create one dashboard, but you can pick and choose what rows of your data, that is your row level security or column level security, can also be added to your dashboards. So the content is delivered only to those people who have the rules set to be able to see them. Next, SPICE. SPICE stands for Superfast Parallel In-Memory Computation Engine. What SPICE does is, every time you make a connection to the data source with QuickSight, QuickSight will bring, if you choose to do so, SPICE is optional again. So if you choose to have a direct connect, then every time your dashboard is rendered, every time you change filters, parameters on your dashboard, a query is sent to your database. So that will be a direct connect. But if you do not want, if you want to avoid that round trip to your database, and if your data is going to be constant for about an hour or so, then you can see a lot of performance improvements, low latency, and a lot of the benefits of Spice if you choose to bring that snapshot of data into Spice. Now, once the data is in Spice, Spice can be thought of as internal storage for QuickSight. So once the data is in QuickSight, internal storage of QuickSight, every time you load up your dashboards or you change filters, interact, drill down, the query is not sent to the underlying database. Instead, the query is fetched directly from Spice. And Spice is optimized to run in parallel. So you will see the performance improvement when you have Spice. So it's an option if you want to provide, if you want to choose for your dashboards. If you do not want to do a direct connect, then Spice is the way to go. Next, you can set threshold alerts. What this means is that every time, say for a particular metric value, you're say for a particular cost, right? So if you're saying your cost should not cross 12,000 in a given month, for example, you can set a threshold alert and say that every time cost increases $12,000, send me an alert, and you will see an alert in your inbox every time that value changes. So those are threshold based alerts, and you can schedule them. Every reader in your organization can schedule them to their own liking. So if the VP has a higher threshold and maybe the director wants to keep a more closer look and want to get alerted before that threshold actually, so that they can take action based on that alert. So every reader has the capability of choose the threshold in which they need to get alerted. Down below, you see a sample report. On the second screenshot below, you see a sample email report from QuickSight. So you can schedule email reports on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. And instead of you logging into QuickSight every day, you can see an email with your top metrics on the top, like you see, and your line chart there. You see also some forecast there in orange. So all this is available on your mailbox, and if you want to dive deeper and see what's causing that change, something is if you see something alarming or different in your screenshot right here on the email, you can click on go to QuickSight, and then you'll be able to get into QuickSight and see more details. So initially you get a snapshot. If you want to go dive deeper, then that's an option as well. Also, it's important to note that these emails will honor your row level security. It will also honor the dynamic default. For example, you are an area manager and you only want to see that your particular area's email report, then you can get only that email report triggered and sent to you. And finally, you can also bring your models. If you have some models in SageMaker, then QuickSight integrates with SageMaker, and you can bring your SageMaker models into QuickSight. And so now what will happen is you're not seeing a dashboard which is showing a picture of the past or showing your current state. Rather, you can even predict what your numbers or your metrics will look like in the future by virtue of integrating SageMaker with QuickSight. And also here you see on the top blue highlighted portion, you see that daily revenue for March 16 increased by 0.6%. So this text is actually generated automatically by QuickSight. Nobody has typed it in there. It is generated based on your data. It's automatically generated, natural language sentences, but at the same time, you also have the flexibility to go modify it. As you can see, that increased by 0.6 is bold. So the user has been able to go inside that QuickSight and bold those letters. You can also give it a different color. Like for example, if it is increased by, then show it in red. If it is decreased by, then show it in, increased by, then you show it in green, and decreased by, you can show it in red, right? So those kind of auto generations is possible. At the same time, you can customize them as well. And a lot of QuickSight customers like to embed QuickSight dashboards into their applications, many ISV providers. So we do provide that capability wherein you can authenticate your users using your SSO, and once they log into your application, they will see your QuickSight dashboard. Now you can you can white label this so it doesn't look like it's coming from QuickSight. You can brand it. We have theming capabilities so that the look and feel can match closely to whatever the branding of your company is. So with that, we come to the end of the presentation. And I'd like to very quickly show the latest feature of QuickSight, which is Amazon Q. This is a natural language processing query service. With this, you're able to type sentences in English and get answers to them as a chart, right? So you don't have to worry about creating dashboards. You don't have to worry about dragging and dropping the fields. Once you have created a data set in QuickSight, you can use that data set and start asking questions out of that data set. For example, I'm going to create a patient data set right here, and I'm trying to this is a very quick view of how the data has been used. But say I want to see, say for example, I just use this question which I typed just before this session. I say, show me weekly revenue and profit for North Hospital for 2018. When I click on it, you will see that a graph has been generated automatically. I didn't have to put these two metrics on the color shelf. I didn't have to choose what kind of a line chart I wanted. Everything has been created automatically by QuickSight. Pretty cool, right? Now, if I do not like it this way, if I do not like the line chart, I have the capability of changing it to, say, for example, an area chart, right? And you can, in this case this chart doesn't make sense, but yes, you have the capability of choosing what you'd like to present this. You can also export this data into a CSV, so that way if you want to do get this data and do more analysis, then that's possible as well. You can save it to a location, and then you'll be able to go to that particular file and see the data for revenue and profit across your dates, right? So that's little intro to QuickSight Q. With that, over to Harsha.
All right, thank you, Sapna. So let's, for this part of the session, we're going to do hands-on lab. So if you pre-registered for this lab, you should have received a link to the lab account we created for you. For those of you who did not pre-register or cannot locate the email with the link for this lab, you can feel free to use your AWS account or the AWS console and then follow along the steps in your account, or simply watch me do the demo and then learn how Amazon QuickSight helps you author dashboards for BI reporting purposes. Take a look at this session chat, and you should now see a link broadcasted to you, which we'll use for today's hands-on lab. And that's basically the link I'm also sharing on the screen. You can feel free to type in from this particular link on your browser and get yourself ready for this lab. So if you did not find so today as we are walking through this lab, if you need any help or needed to ask any questions, feel free to use the chat and ask questions, and one of our SMEs will help you with the lab questions or any places that you're stuck and you needed to get back into the demo that I'm presenting and catch up with it. Just feel free to reach out and they'll quickly help you as soon as they can. Let me see if there's anything else we need to do before we get started. Yeah, so while you can use the instructions on this workshop link and complete the exercises at your own pace, I highly encourage you all to use a split screen if you use one monitor, or use two screens with side by side, to use one screen to watch me perform the steps and follow along in your lab account on the other screen. If you have any questions with the lab or need any help, like I mentioned, use the chat to get help. So let's go ahead and begin setting up your QuickSight account. Use the link that you received, and once you paste it in your browser, that will take you to a screen that you're seeing on the on your screen. Click on AWS console. That should actually take you to this other pop-up, and click on Open AWS console. So at this point, type in QuickSight and click on the link. And what we're going to do is we're going to first register QuickSight in this account and sign up for it. So click on the sign up for QuickSight. And we're going to leave it with the enterprise license, hit continue. And leave it all defaults and go into the account information, QuickSight account name, and give it a name, BAcon21 I'll say demo account. And for the email address, give it your email address. I'm going to give mine. And leave the rest as defaults. And hit finish. At this point, the QuickSight account is created in the lab AWS account provided to you. I'll try to go a little bit slow so everybody can catch up and follow along the steps. All right, so once you see this screen, click on Go to Amazon QuickSight button, and that should take you to the QuickSight screen. And this is the landing page for QuickSight. You can close these pop-ups, and at this point, you've completed this setup. So let's navigate to the first lab exercise. If you go on to this particular author workshop, what we're going to do today is we're going to actually use the sales sample data set, and we're going to accomplish the dashboards that are on this first dashboard exercises. We're going to get there eventually in a moment, but for now, download this sales CSV file and put it in your desktop or any folder that you need. I'm going to cancel this out because I already downloaded it. And once you downloaded it, we're going to actually use this data set in QuickSight, which is basically the first setup. So on the left-hand side, when you go back to the QuickSight screen, you see data sets. Click on the data sets, and then hit on New Data Set. Take a moment to scroll down and see the native data integrations that QuickSight provides to you. For now, we're going to use the data set we downloaded onto the desktop, which is a CSV file, and the upload a file. Click on it, and at which point we're going to load that file into QuickSight. And you'll see a sample, and once you see a sample, then we know it's loaded correctly, and hit next, and click on Visualize. This concludes your exercise 1, which you basically loaded the data set, and now your data set is ready for you to build visualizations on top of that data. So for the remainder of this lab, you'll assume the role of a sales analyst in a fictitious organization trying to build a BI dashboard to report on sales data for your leadership. So let's move on to exercise 2. In this exercise, you'll build a dashboard to visualize sales by month. So for that, we're going to highlight which actually shows this blue border on this particular dashboard, which already by default, the visual which is by default created. And because we're building sales by month, I'm going to select sales and then the order date. And on the top, click on the field wells, which is essentially a place where you basically can use your dimensions, measures, and arrange them, aggregate them, things like that. So that's basically the right place for you to drag drop your measures and dimensions on your left-hand side fields list. So at this point, the QuickSight has automatically created a dashboard for you. However, this is by order date. So we need it by month. So what I'm going to do is click on this little drop down, and then you will aggregate this to a month. And see QuickSight automatically change the graph visual type. And we actually do that by default if you do not specifically select one of the visual types that we support. So that's a very nice way to automatically help you get the right visual based on your data set. So at this point, we've basically now created monthly sales for the data set or for your company. So this concludes exercise 1. And now let's move on, sorry, exercise 2. Now let's move on to exercise 3. Where I did not get it correctly, so bear with me. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard. So at this point, we're going to create a forecast on this data. So for that, click on your visual, and on the right-hand side, you basically see these 3 dots, and click on these dots and hit Add Forecast. So by default, QuickSight predicts for 14 months forward, and on the left-hand side, you see under the forecast property, the configuration that allows you to change it. So let's predict it for 6 months forward, and I'm going to change it to 6 and hit apply. So at which point I actually have data that the graph that actually predicted for the next 6 months in this orange color. However, how do you know how accurate it is for your data set, right? So basically, you can leverage what's called a period backward, which allows QuickSight to predict on the number of months you select here, or the number that you select, which here in this case is number of months, and helps provide a forecast without using the actual data during that 6 month. So let's say I put in 6 months here, and then now I hit apply. So what QuickSight did is it used the data up till this point, and then it actually predicted the next 6 months, which is this part on the orange. And then what it actually did to help identify the accuracy of this prediction and build the confidence, it overlaid the actual 6 month data that has been seen in blue color. So you can actually see this prediction has been pretty good and in line with what was actually observed. So that's a great way of building confidence and showing it to your users that this that this forecast is accurate. So this concludes the lab 3. And then let's move on to the next lab, where we're going to visualize sales performance compared to last year. For this, we're going to select a new visual. For that, click on this plus add button and hit on add visual. And at this point, because we wanted to do a last year comparison, we're going to select this KPI as the visual type. And then this is basically for sales year over year. So I'm going to select sales as well as my order date. Again, the order date, I want to aggregate that to the year. So go to the field wells, select it from the trend group, and select the year. So at this point, you're able to see the KPI that the year-over-year growth is now between last year and this year, 2020 and 21, it's $125,000. There is this pop-up that you may actually see where the data set has actually loaded into Spice, which is actually QuickSight's memory. And just to remind you, QuickSight's Spice is actually able to support up to 250 million records if you are on enterprise license per data set, or 500 gigabytes per data set, whichever comes first. So that's significant if you think about it, that actually can hold a very large data set in its memory. So it's going to very fast, it's going to help you render your dashboard results very fast. So I'm going to close this, and you close this pop-up window. So so let me check what else is next. All right, so this basically concludes the lab 4, and as Sapna highlighted earlier, QuickSight uses advanced machine learning to automatically generate valuable insights on your data. And in this upcoming exercise, you'll use insights QuickSight generated and publish the ones that add value to your analysis. So for that, we're going to click on the insights on the left-hand side. And you see the natural language processing that we've used under the hood with advanced machine learning and generated certain insights on using your data set. And if you see, month over month, total sales for December decreased by 19.45%. That's significant. And for a sales analyst, that's something they need to publish it for their, leadership. So we're going to click on plus button. And at this point, QuickSight, in this QuickSight dashboard, you're going to resize using these borders where you can actually see the arrows come in, and then hold it and arrange it in a way that you'd want to make it more appealing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put my actual dashboard a little bit bigger onto the left-hand side, and I'm going to move this to the left, and I'm going to rearrange my KPI, make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to move it onto the right-hand side. I'm going to still make it a little shorter, and add the month over month insight right underneath that, and also arrange that to make it more visually appealing. Make this a little bit shorter, and let's see what else insights are appealing. If I scroll down further, I see with the forecast on sales, it says that total sales is forecasted in the month of February to be $32,000. That's something your users when analyzing on sales are going to be very interested in. So again, hit the plus button, and this will be added to your visual sheet. And again, use the borders to rearrange the visual, and we're going to put it right under the KPI. So again, I'm going to move it. Now at this point, I'm going to actually level this one out a little lower and move my KPI all the way up. That way it's a little bit more visually intuitive for me. All right, so at this point, we're able to use the insights and completed the lab 5 exercise that helped you create those quick visuals on your data, quick insights from the visuals that we previously created using insights. So moving on to the next visual or next exercise. Let me move my screen. So sales and add visual. At this point, you can increase and align the width of it or move it to however you like. I'll leave it as is. What we're doing is to analyze industry sales. So on the left-hand side from the fields list, I'm going to select my sales and the industry. And now, because I want to analyze it by industry, a nicer way to analyze it is by using a donut chart. So under the visual type, select donut chart. So this is a nice way for me to quickly glean insights on, how various industries have performed towards the sales, and I can hover on each of these and get the values, the sales values, as you can see. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add drill down. And one important thing in this dashboard that your users might want to see is what customers within finance or what customers within healthcare have actually contributed to this sale. So for that, what we're going to do is we're going to actually select the customer and then drag and then drop it in your field wells and actually expand the field wells first, and click on the customer, drag it and put it right under the industry, under the group color, and make sure you see that little drop down that says add drill down layer. So once you see that, release your cursor, and at which point you actually have a drill down. And the way you would actually validate that is click on the any of the colored items in the donut chart, and you'll see a drill down on customer as a selection. So once you click on it, you'll be able to see and understand various different customers and then how much of those sales that they have actually contributed. At any point in time when you need to drill up, on the right hand side, click on this arrow button up and you'll be able to get back to the previous view. Now, while this is great, in some cases it's important to also publish a metric right underneath these names, like labels. We call them labels. So these labels really quickly enable your readers to visualize and understand what that graph is referring to. So we're going to do that, and for that, click on this gear icon on the right, and then on the left hand side, expand the data labels that you could see. And from this, click on show metric checkbox. And once you add this checkbox on the right hand side, you're able to see the sales contribution for each of the component within the donut chart. When you click on it to do a drill down, it actually also follows along or inherits from the parent from the parent drill up. So that's a nice way to build your dashboards with published metrics. So that concludes our lab number. I think it's lab number 6. Yeah. So now what we're going to do next is to analyze for each region by a subregion. And usually these type of analysis is made easy by using pivot tables. That's something we're going to build now. So for that, on the left hand side, click on add and select add visual. You can rearrange that. I want to actually put it on the right hand side and rearrange this to make it a little bit more crisper and stay together with the rest of the charts. So click on that graph, make sure you get the border, and then on the left hand side, select the pivot table under the visual types. So at this point, what we wanted to analyze is the analysis on region and the subregions and how they contributed to the sales. So on the left hand side from the fields list, I'm going to select region and subregion. Now, sales is also obviously important so that I understand how the sales have contributed. And what would be important here is to actually build it by the date and show the years as columns, right? So I'm going to select my order date and then now drag it under the columns section and then drop it. So on the right hand side, as you can see, let me increase this. Yeah. So on the right hand side, as you can see, the years are created, and then I have my various regions and the subregions. I can always click on this region and collapse it, click on collapse all, and that nicely collapses the various different rows and provides a quick, nicer aggregate. And your users obviously can expand those individual individual sections as they desire. Now let's do a bit more formatting to make it more appealing for your users. So on the left-hand side, click on the gear icon again. And what we're going to do is we're going to add subtotals to each of these, each of the subregions to understand from the subregion how much sales aggregation that we actually gotten. So on the left, expand the subtotals and select the checkbox that says show subtotals for rows. At this point, you can see the subtotals as a row that got added for each of the data rows. And one thing, if you observe, you see the sales is a column name that kept repeating itself, and that's not visually appealing. So we're going to select the styling to remove that, select styling and expand it. And select the checkbox that says hide single metric. So at this point, you basically have a much cleaner, nicer visual that actually showed the year over year. Actually got the month over month looks like. So we're going to have to change this to an aggregate. I think I forgot that. So in order to change this date, would we actually have a date, not an year? We're going to select the column on the order date and then do an aggregate and select year. And at this point now you have the yearly sales nicely aggregated by a region and the subtotals of each of their contribution into your data set. So when using visual dashboards for sales analysis, a flexibility to use certain filters provide valuable self-service experience to glean insights on your data. So let's build a filter on business unit or segment on the dashboard and learn their sales contribution. So for that, on the left-hand side, click on the filter button right here. And then click on plus. So let's add the filter. We said business unit or segment. So there is actually an attribute for segment. So we're going to search for segment and you should find it. Click on it. And then once you see it, click on the actual segment. So at this point, you get the option, if you expand this or click on this drop down, you get to see if the filter should be applied on only one of the visuals in the sheet or selective visuals or all of the visuals in the data set or the dashboard. So I'm going to select all of the visuals for this part of the lab. So as you can see, as I'm selecting this, pretty much in near real time, you see the data also refresh across rest of the dashboards for that filter. So now I hit apply. And at which point you still don't have the filter in your dashboard. And for that, what we're going to do is we're going to add this filter to the actual sheet. So use the three dots right here, click on it, and then hit add to sheet. And let's rearrange this. Usually filters are provided at the top of your dashboard. So that's what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this all the way to the top. I want to put it right above the sales KPI and expand it a little longer to align it with the rest. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to also expand this to make it a little bit more visually attractive and aligned with the right-hand side. So at this point, I now have my dashboard with filter, and go ahead and click on the drop down to see what line of businesses or segment values that this data set has. So there are these three different segments, and we can actually select any of these to see the data automatically refresh on rest of the visuals. If I change it to enterprise and SMB segments, the data automatically refresh pretty fast. So that's really going to help your users to select filters and understand how to get access to the type of filters and the data sets that they're more interested in. So now there is also another way that you can actually create these type of filters. We call it the filter actions. So let's go ahead and build that. So for that, let's use the donut chart that we built. So click on that. You can actually, come out of that, and then click on the donut chart. On the left-hand side, you see actions. Go ahead and click on actions. So once you see it, click on filter same sheet visuals. And then at which point what happens is, now on this chart, let's say I want to filter the, my visuals using finance and only get the data or sales data specific to finance. I can simply click on it and you can see it actually highlighted that and grayed out the rest. Let's say I want to drill down on manufacturing. I simply click on manufacturing and I see the rest of the dashboards refresh. Similarly tech. Well, one thing you'd notice is while we've actually had a drill down on this previously, before adding the actions, filter, on the left click, you saw the drill down option. But now you basically get the drill down option when you do a right click. So go ahead and do a right click. And now you can click on drill down to customer. And again, at any point in time, you need to drill up, use the arrow on the right-hand side and click on drill up. So at this point, we completed lab exercise 8. For those of you who are following the workshop link we shared earlier, just so you know, if you're closing in, or if you need more time, feel free to use the exercise. And again, the help from the AWS SMEs using the chat to ensure you're making progress. So now we basically built the dashboard with various different types of visuals that's required for providing insights to your users on the sales data. So let's go ahead and publish your dashboard to your end users. So your end users are able to access this dashboards. So for that, what you're going to do is you're going to select on the share button right here, click on share, and click on publish dashboard. Give it a name. We'll say sales overview. And then publish dashboard. If you had users created in your QuickSight account or integrated, that will show up here. For now, you don't have any users, so you can skip and we don't share it with any users that we already have. So this is a quick way to publish your dashboards. However, we haven't yet shared with anyone. But before sharing it, let's do one other change to the dashboard. So let's go back to the actual dashboard. by clicking on the QuickSight and on the sales analysis right here. We're going to add titles. Titles actually make your dashboard more appealing to your users, and titles allow your dashboard to precisely have a have a nice quick header of what it actually is talking about. So for that, let's click on Add on the top left, and then click on Add Title. So here, let's give it a name, and we'll say Sales Overview Dashboard. And once you give this Sales Overview Dashboard, you still want to give more meaningful names to your visuals. So click on these visuals, and for this, we're going to say month-over-month trend. Month-over-month trend. And then for the KPI, we're going to say year-over-year sales. And for the donor chart, we're going to say sales by industry, and say drill down by customer. And again, for the pivot, we're going to say region sales. At this point, let's assume you completed all the analysis and the visuals that you wanted to build. You've seen how to publish that. So we're going to do one more quick exercise, just so these titles will reflect in the actual published dashboard. So we're going to say publish dashboard, and then give it a new name. We'll say Sales Overview 2. If you've already created Sales Overview, just give another name, Sales Overview 2, and then publish your dashboard. You can skip this step and click X. So now that your dashboard is completed, you can basically get to see a feel of how your users will use this. If I clicked on it, it did that action filter. I right click and do a drill down customer, and my rest of my data set refreshes. If I want to collapse it, I can collapse all, I can expand all to see all of that, right? So it's working as expected. So that's great. So now I'm ready to email this to my end users, and they'll be able to access the dashboard from there. So click on the share button right here and click on email report. So there are a few options here. If you can see on the first scheduling piece, where you can actually do an ad hoc one and send one time, or you can do it on a daily basis, once a week, once a month. So you have that flexibility, and you can select when to first send that report on, your time zones, and then customize what the content of that email should look like. So you could say, if you already created as Sales Overview 2, here you can actually say Sales Overview. That's what will show up in that email, and whatever subject line, and then the body of the email that you'd wanted to send to your users. You can actually click on include PDF attachment, so that this sheet or the dashboard that you created actually also gets sent as a PDF that they can download, put it in their deck or any others that they needed to send to or take printouts, etc. Right? And go to the bottom and send, and you will see your email ID that you created during the initial part of the session, and then click on Send Test Report. So at this point, after a few seconds, you should see a report that gets sent to your email, and I'm going to quickly show you how that actually looks. My connection to my email is currently dropped, so I'm going to show you that from this visual. So I'm going to play that little GIF in a minute. All right, it's still loading. All right. So I'm going to click on this so you get to see how the visual comes up in the email. It's still loading. Apologies for this slow internet. Let me close this. There you go. So this is the email, and you'll get a view of it, and then the PDF. When they click on it, they actually get to see the dashboard in the PDF. And when they need to log in and actually see the dashboard, they click on Open in QuickSight, and that will take the reader to the AWS account that they have access to with QuickSight and the dashboard that you've seen earlier. All right, so we still have time left. We're at the end of the exercises that we have planned to cover during this session. You still have the accounts, available to you for a few more hours that you can actually go through rest of these, lab sessions that you have the workshop link. And at this point, if you need more time, we're going to stay here. Please continue to post your questions on the chat. And yeah, first off, congratulations again for completing your first dashboard in QuickSight. What I'd like you to just take home is from this lab is to observe the interactivity we added using the filter controls, the filter actions, and the drill downs, all of them which are available on the dashboard that you can easily build and share with your users with the machine learning insights and the forecasting, all of them in a nice ease of use, user-friendly way, right? So that really enhances your author's experience as well as the readers when they get to see that in a cost-effective way. All right, so for that, I'm going to basically pause this screen share and see if there are any questions on the chat. Sapna or Venkat, how are we doing on the questions? Is there any section that I need to go back and cover? Just wanted to see what you're saying.
But I like the fact that we have these new features where QuickSight now can understand natural language. You can just say like, hey, this is what I want, and it gives you all the charts. It kind of puts all the data together, and of course you still have the ability to customize. So all those things. And another thing that I particularly liked is the way it's kind of really predicting that, forecasting this model is kind of neat. But yeah, I didn't see any questions. Oh yeah, I think I see there's one question. It says, does it detect anomalies? Is the question. We lost you, Harsha.
Oh, sorry, I was speaking on mute. I was just going to defer that to Sapna. So yes, it does. When you look at the insights, that's basically the insights are essentially quickly enabling you to glean on the insights, which are essentially your anomalies. So that's a way it actually helps you. Sapna, if you want to add anything else, please feel free to do that.
Yes, you can set anomaly detection. So there is an option there where it'll ask you which metrics you want to monitor. And once you set that up, it will then continuously monitor every time your data is refreshed or new data comes through. That anomaly detection job will monitor it continuously, and then it will send out an email if you have set the alert for it, and so that you can take action. So yes, an anomaly detection has its own separate charge. Just wanted to put out there.
Thank you, Sapna. Yeah, at this point, I don't see any other new questions. So Yeah, and we're at the time. Back to you, Kevin.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you all very much. Appreciate the collaboration and all the great information you guys shared. We were seeing from our side, at least, we're seeing more and more demand for QuickSight. Actually customers asking for it. So it's great that we were able to get a quick overview of that. So thank you guys all very much. For the rest of our listeners, if you do have additional questions, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be sure to answer those. That goes for anything AWS, right? So QuickSight, as many of you know, is one small part of the hundreds of offerings that AWS has. So if you have questions about QuickSight or anything else related to AWS, please do reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer that. Okay, and that concludes our session for AWS. Just pull up my slides here one more time. Excellent. So again, I wanted to thank you guys all for joining the session, and I actually get to thank you guys all for joining Bacon 2021 and being a part of this conference this year. As I mentioned before, we've had a lot of really good collaboration with everyone, a lot of interaction with the attendees this year. So we do appreciate all of you guys taking part in this, staying engaged, and we hope to see you guys on future conferences as well. A couple of things that I wanted to mention before we wrap up here. One last time, I wanted to thank all of our sponsors, IBM, Ingram Micro, and Incorda. Thank you all very much for being a part of this conference. A huge help in bringing all this together. I also want to thank all the PM Square members who have put in hours, endless hours, and late nights and late days, making this conference possible. There was a lot of work that went into it, so I appreciate everyone's involvement here. Upcoming newsletter, so things to be on the lookout for. Be on the lookout for the upcoming newsletter that'll have a few pieces of information about Bacon. The prize winner for Bacon will be announced in that newsletter. Additionally, all of the recordings, all the related resources for Bacon will also be included there. So definitely be on the lookout for that. The survey, one last time I wanted to mention this. We would really appreciate all of you guys taking the survey this year. Not only will this give you yet another chance at winning the grand prize, but more importantly, it'll help us to be able to deliver better content to you guys in future conferences. So be as frank as possible. Tell us what you liked, tell us what you disliked, and we'll be sure to kind of use some of that feedback in organizing some of our future events for you guys. And then lastly, if there are any questions about any of the content that you saw, if you want to get more information about some of the sessions, we can only fit so much content in a 2-day window. So if there's anything else that you guys have questions about, or want to have a follow-up discussion, you want to have a follow-up demonstration about any of these solutions, definitely do reach out to us, and we'll be happy to set up some one-on-one sessions with you guys and go through that. And that pretty much wraps it all. Again, I want to thank you guys all for being a part of Bacon 2021, and we'll be in touch shortly. Thank you all.